Welcome into another edition of the Bar Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Green, and we've got a fun one for you. I've enjoyed this guy's music for a little while now, and he's got a brand new album, Where to Find Me, dropping July 25th here in just a little bit. Let's welcome in country singer-songwriter Jay Webb.
What up? How's it going?
It's going good, man. How are you?
Can't complain, brother. Can't complain. Still recovering from the 4th, but we're doing okay.
I was going to say, now, are you in Nashville, or where's home for you these days?
Yeah, Nashville.
So was it as hot for you down there as it was for me in Kentucky?
Dude, so hot. So hot. And Alabama's even worse. Like, when I go back home right now, I'm like, good God, dude. Nashville feels great compared to Alabama right now.
So you have perspective then.
Totally. Yeah.
Well, this is Bar Conversations. I think you have a drink. It's clear, though, so I got to figure out what you got in that glass. So what you drinking tonight? What's your go-to drink these days?
Tonight, we're doing some homemade moonshine. I don't know what the flavor is. They said gummy worm on the lid, but it's clear and it tastes like a grape or something. I don't know, dude. It's pretty good, though. It's pretty good. A little strong.
There you go. There you go. I went, Jay Webb. I was like, what can I do? I don't have anything from Alabama. Sometimes I try to pick the state. So I was like, you know what, Jay Webb? How about a little Jay Mattingly?
Oh, yeah.
Little 6-year-old Kentucky bourbon coming in at 118 proof. So I might not be as high as that moonshine, but we're trying.
In any other world, you would have been the highest. So cheers.
Now, I know you're drinking some moonshine. I got a little bit of bourbon. I feel like once or twice, whether it's a song title or a lyric, I've heard you mention whiskey or bourbon in a song. So is that on purpose? Where does the whiskey in those songs come from?
Dude, when I first started, I was like, man, let's just be real. I was drinking a lot of whiskey and a little bourbon. I'd had my first shot of bourbon the day that I wrote Bury Me With Bourbon. And I was like, dude, this stuff's pretty good. So put that in the song, dude. Try to put whiskey in there a little bit. And then it just became, now when I go into a write, I was writing everything by myself back then. But now when I go into a write up here, they're like, whiskey, bourbon. And I'm like, let's lay off a little bit, dude. Let's throw beer in there every now and then, show it some love,
Maybe a little moonshine, right?
A little moonshine every now and then, yeah.
I love that. I love that. Well, you've been putting out some music for a while, but and you mentioned it's warm down in Alabama. You're an Alabama native. How was it growing up in Alabama, and how that kind of shape your perspective, your music?
Oh, dude, Alabama to me will always be home. It's crazy now when I go back. I almost have like a memory for every exit. When I drive down the interstate, it's like my roots run deep there. Everybody that I love is there. I met my wife there, both my parents, grandparents, everything, man. So when I go back to Alabama, it's like you can almost, it's a good song when you can play it on the back roads down there, and it feels like home.
I was gonna say, how often do you get to go home these days?
Dude, lately I've been blessed enough to go once a month, roughly. My wife and I made it a priority back when our grandma was still alive to go see her every week, and kind of got in the habit of it. And so now when we go back, we see our parents and our cousins and everything, and try to keep the tradition going of at least getting, half a week or a week down there every month. So
that's awesome. And I know you've talked about this, your life and stuff, and it's in your songs and things like that. And we'll probably dive a little deeper into that here in a little bit. But I know you moved around a lot early in life. How did you kind of cope with that chaos, and how did music and faith kind of become a foundation for you to get through all that?
Dude, coping with the chaos could be an album title. I feel like it's pretty dope. That's kind of what it was, dude, is I discovered music kind of early on, through my grandma, and just kind of from then on found out anything I could about how you could record and make a song and stuff like that, and just kind of used it for an escape to kind of get away from the mess that was my life a lot of times. And it kind of became just like a therapy. So I didn't really ever think that I would make it this far, but it sure did feel good at the time to make some songs and stuff, or try to back then, and they wasn't that good, but it's just kind of like an escape for me, man. Still is my only hobby, really. So Yeah, I don't
And
know
now you're
anything.
getting paid to do it, right?
Yeah, man, it's crazy world.
But I was gonna say, you talk about your grandma. Is it true you were first drawn to listening to? We're gonna date ourselves a little bit here. Her cassette tapes is what you would listen to. So who were you listening to, and what memories do those tapes bring back?
Oh, dude, I feel like everything in Alabama is like 20 years behind everything else. So when I was growing up, I should not have been listening to cassette tapes. I was born in '96. Like, I'm pretty sure they had CDs when I was born, you know? So it's like, yeah, when I got into her cassettes and she had a little cassette tape player, I thought it was just like the new thing. I was like, this is what everybody does. But it's anywhere from Conway Twitty to Elvis to Johnny Cash. When I found that Johnny Cash one, though, I was like, this is my stuff right here, dude. Yeah.
Well, and then for you, you talk about like you had a love of music, you found it there. Like, were other people musical in your family, or did they just enjoy listening to music? Could they play instruments? Where did your love kind of grow out of that?
I don't really know because my grandma would sing, but it was great to me at the time. I don't think it was anything just incredible, but bless her heart, But it was like I think my mom's dad played a little guitar. I never got to meet him though. He passed before I was born. And then my great granddad on my dad's side had a bluegrass band, but it was all people that had already passed, so I never got to really have any kind of direction from them. I wish I'd probably be a lot better if I did, but
Maybe it skipped a generation or something, or it's every
yeah,
so many. That's where all the music comes in, right?
that's right. Could be.
Now, we talked about, kind of how, music, kind of faith, kind of got you through a lot of stuff. You openly share that though on stage as kind of a way to connect with people. I think you said you were saved at, 8 years old. So how are you able to
Yep.
use that and kind of connect with folks on stage?
Yeah, I made a promise to God when I was probably, I want to say 12. I'd been saved for a few years, kind of grew up in Baptist churches and stuff, never really felt comfortable enough to go up to the altar and do it that way in front of everybody. And I thought it was a more personal thing and it should be kept like that. So once I learned how you talk to God and, ask Him into your heart and stuff, one day I just did it out in the yard and I was like, man, I felt the Spirit and I felt like that's what I was supposed to be doing. So, few years later, I really was just trying to. I think I was 12 years old, and just like, man, if I could just make this into something, that would be awesome. And I was really uh, feeling God at the time, and I was riding my four wheeler back in the middle of the woods. It sounds like a story that's made up, but it really is true. It was like the sun beamed through a few trees, and I was really feeling God at the time, and I was like, man, I'm going to pray and ask Him for something. I don't think I'd ever asked Him for anything at that time. And I was like, God, just basically told Him, if you bless me to be able to do music with my life, I promised Him that I would give Him all the glory for it. So years and years went by. I was 12 at the time. Then I was 25 before I had a song blow up at all. So I was like still roughing it. And I was like, man, now that I'm doing shows and stuff, it's only right that at every show I do tell everybody in the bar or the club or whatever we're playing, festival, whatever it may be, about Jesus and how He saved my life and how He can help them too. So whether it's uncomfortable or not, I just give a little bit of my story there, and I just let them know that if they're looking for something like that, that He's there.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, I think with all your music, there's a little bit of you in it, and you're able to share that and have folks connect. And you talk about, earlier, your wife is also from Alabama. She's your high school sweetheart, right? Isn't that right?
She is, yeah. We met in ninth grade, and we've been together ever since. Got married last year, so yeah, she is. We've been together a minute.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on that. And I know you're out on
Thank
tour with Colby Cooper. I mean, were you two talking? Was he an inspiration? I know he married his high school sweetheart. Now he's got, I think, like three girls or three kids running around, and he's like,
you.
I'm an old man now at like 26, 27.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, anybody. Is he 27?
I don't know. He might be 30. He's
No, I
not
think
that
he's
old.
young. I think he's younger
Or he
than
might
you.
be like 26. I don't know. He might be younger than you. I don't know. But
Hell, he
he
might be
told me he's an old
25.
man.
Yeah, yeah, he does. He's got his kids, and he's always keeping close communication with them, and always loves to go home and be with them, and that's always an inspiration. Him and Kane Brown and guys that take their family on the road sometimes like that too. It's just that's the dream for me. One day when we have kids, man, I hope that they can be close by.
Well, and you know, you talk about being with your high school sweetheart, your wife, for a while now, but she was with you, you know, through those, you know, early stages, supporting you during all that. I mean, how important is she to kind of where you're at now?
Oh, she's if it wasn't for her, dude, I would say she's the reason I'm here. I mean, literally, she used to wait tables, and she hated it, dude. It was Mobile, Alabama, and it got rough sometimes. She'd wait tables and pay our bills, and I'd be at home recording in the closet, like, "Hey, I promise this is gonna work," you know. And it's like, yeah, sure, buddy, you know, like, but for whatever reason, she saw something in me and was either like, this guy's crazy enough that this might actually happen, or like she loved me enough that she didn't care, or a little bit of both, you know, I don't know. But if it wasn't for her, man, I would have never had the time it took to put the hours in. I don't want to say I didn't work. I definitely tried landscaping and everything else, but it always seemed to be that I got either fired or I quit a couple days in trying to just get home early and make music. So yeah, without her, I would not be here for sure.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say, I mean, you know, now that you kind of get to look back, you've had some success, you've had some deals and things like that. Is it wild to look back at that journey? Because, like you said, you did the first, you asked God at 12. You know, you in ninth grade, you meet your future wife, and you know you're pushing. But I mean, like you said, it took a little while before things eventually take off. People see the success now, but they kind of forget about that journey upward to it.
Oh yeah, dude. By the time I met her in ninth grade, dude, I'd been already recording music in my little video editing software. I think it was called, and there was something called, I think, Audacity on an
Mm-hmm.
old, you know, Windows computers and stuff. And I'd record in that and just try to like, I'd get like a beat off YouTube, record the beat through the speaker, then recorded that, you know, just trying to piece stuff together for years. So when I met her, it was like, she's this cheerleader in high school, just popular girl, way out of my league, dude. I'm like, yo, what up? You know, I'm like the quiet kid in the back of the class, like not talking to anybody and stuff. And for whatever reason, we clicked and everything. And I remember telling her, like, hey, I'm going to drop some music. I hope you're cool with this. Me and my buddy, we got this little group. We're going to put this stuff together and put it out. And she was like, huh? And I was like, yeah, you know, and so I got bullied pretty hard for it at school, but she was always the backbone, dude. She didn't care, and having her there kind of helped me just have the confidence to push through that little bit of, struggle with it or whatever, if you want to call it that, and just keep going enough to get better, you know.
Well, I love how you said you had a group because I feel like everyone I've talked to at some point, at some time, either had a band or a group. So, what now? Were you a rock band or was it like a group? How was the high school group for you?
So it was me and my buddy. I don't. We were a country. We were trying to do country, you know. But it was so bad that we didn't know what we were doing. We would just download karaoke tracks on YouTube, and then he would play guitar over it, and I would sing over it. So all of our backing vocals were like karaoke and stuff, and it was just real gimmicky. And like we were trying to convince the world we were playing everything, but it was just like, dude, y'all ain't playing this shit, man. You know what I mean?
Well, hey, you got to start somewhere, and like you
Yeah.
said, you were, you know, self-producing songs in your bedroom. You were doing so much, you know. I mean, when you think back though, like what was that creative process like for you? I mean, obviously it was an outlet. So I mean, were you writing all the lyrics, trying to make it all work? Like what was it like for you back then?
Yeah, I think back before I moved out of my mom's house down south into my dad's house, I was doing a lot of like writing just on the guitar, acoustic and stuff. I never put any of that out. It was real personal stuff, is all I knew how to write. And at the time, it was like just weird for like a 9-year-old to put out like an emotional, it was like what? But after we graduated high school, I started messing around with production and stuff like that. And I think I was 19 when I graduated, and I was 25 when my first song went viral. So in those 6 years ish, I think I made 350 ish hip hop songs because I was into rap and hip hop then. Moved away from country, started making those. The beats were a lot easier to make. You know, I could do that myself. Than not that hip hop is easier in any way, but I could make that myself. You know, so I made like 350 of them. We do music videos. My wife would film me, and I'd post it and everything. And it was all pretty bad, and I could see why it didn't go viral. So first country song I made, or country rap song or whatever, it blew up, and I was like, oh, this is the pocket. Okay, I found it. You know, finally.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, I think it was what 2022, Southern Girl on TikTok. I mean, what was it like when you finally had that one go, and how did that change things for you?
Oh man, I was spending a lot of time at our grandma's house. We called her Nan. She lived out in the country in South Alabama, like on the river. And I just realized, man, I'm not living any of this hip hop stuff. Like I don't have any money. I don't have a car, much less a Lamborghini. Like I don't have any of this stuff that I'm rapping about, you know. And I just started looking around, and I was like, let me put some of this into my music, you know. And I was like, Southern Girl, you know. I saw my wife out there. She'd be in the garden with our Nan, or you know, doing yard work with us and stuff. We'd all be. I was like, let me make a song called Southern Girl, because that's like my girl, you know. And I think it was just the realness of that. And whenever I pulled up, I remember I made a video pulling up on the golf cart. That was Nan's golf cart we used to put around in out there. And I think just the realness of everything in it was what people gravitated towards, I guess. And I just posted it, went to bed, and I was like, woke up, had 1 million views, dude. Like, it's just insane. I jumped around the house and ran around, called my mom. I was like, it worked, you know? And yeah, dude, from then on, man, it's just been a blessing.
Well, and you talk about, you listen to Johnny Cash. I'm sure Hank Williams is in there, but you've also, you got the hip hop of the world. Post Malone, so many others. When, like you said, when you're able to kind of combine those, you know, and kind of make your own sound, when you started to really go down that path, what was that like? Because, like you said, it probably was more authentic. It was so much, a lot of things kind of maybe came together for you.
They did. It was like everything started making sense, you know? And even now to this day, like from 2022 to the end of last year, I really never, until we made Broken, I didn't really piece together, like, why did I go through all this crazy stuff in my childhood and everything? And like, why? You know, I just was like, why? And after everything comes together and you see, like, this is God's plan for you now, and this is what it all led to, it's a weird, like, you just sit in it and you're like, wow, that really made sense. And it's to this day, like every time I go into a write, I never think of anything besides what's real to me. If that's, hey, we're going to make a club banger right now that people can escape to and have fun, it's still real, you know, it's still me. And it all just led to that point that every pieced it all together for me. And that's, yeah, I think my music will always have hip hop elements, pop elements, country. I don't like solid genres, but you know, who I am will always be country. So I feel like it'll always have a piece of that.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, I feel like nowadays, the genre list is almost better because you get to kind of do a little bit of everything, and you got guys, whether it's Jason Aldean, Brantley Gilbert, bringing in a little more harder edge to it, and then even Post Malone now, in Jelly Roll bringing a different sound to it. So I mean, I feel like it's the doors are open for J Webb to kind of be heard and be seen.
I think so, dude. I was talking about that the other day. I was like, man, Jelly Roll really in country, in Nashville especially, just you know, but worldwide too. Just he walked so I could run. You know what I mean? Like it made it so much more accepting of somebody that looks like me and that makes this kind of music and isn't just dead center country. You know, to really him and Post and all these guys. They really just walked so that I could run. It's been I don't want to say easy, but I'm sure it would be so much harder to be in their position and have to kick those doors down, dude. You know, it's a tough one. But I'm very blessed that those guys came through and really changed the culture.
Well, and you've, like you said, you've been able to build off that. I mean, you've built a loyal, grassroots following, people that love to come see you. You got over 2 million fans, and it's independent. You've done it the hard way. What does it mean to kind of connect with those fans one song at a time and build that up and see that too? Because it's got to be wild when you're out there and people, at first they might know nothing of yours and now they know all your songs.
Oh, dude, yeah, it was like the first show. Like I remember opening up for people where they didn't know any of the songs, you know, and it's like, oh man. But now it's like at my show, I look around and I see people that look like the people I grew up around. You know, it's like a family. I don't feel like I meet a stranger at my shows. It really is people like me and people like my family. And that's from here to California. We played a Nebraska show. I was like, there's country people in Nebraska? There's like, yeah, there are. I was like, Awesome, dude. Didn't know that. Like, Maine, all these, Maryland. No, I think it was Maryland. I was like, man, this is crazy.
I was gonna say, I mean, and like I think the authenticity of what you do is what people are able to connect with, and you know, uh, at 9 years old, maybe you weren't comfortable sharing those, and now it's probably a perfect outlet for it. But what is it like to share those songs, show real vulnerability, and then have people react and go, "Man, I appreciate you putting that out there because I was going through something," or whatever it is. I mean, what's that emotion like?
Oh, dude, it's crazy. It feels so good to know that people connect, and I hate that they went through those things in their life that led them to that. But I mean, we can't change that now. So when they tell me that, we get a lot of that of like, this song saved my life. And I don't quite think I understand like the weight of that yet anyways, but I know that I've had songs change my life or save my life in ways that I'm so grateful to those artists that made it. So a piece of me understands it, and it really just makes me want to make more music that they can feel like they relate to, because I feel like everybody out there needs somebody to say, hey, I'm like you, I've been through this too, you can make it out, and we can all do it together, or we can sit in the shit together. I mean, if we never make it out, at least we got each other.
And then every now and then throw a fun song because you got to have a little fun in life, or at least try to, right?
Yep. That's right. Dude, I still love them. The bangers are always going to be there, dude. I feel like that's such a nice escape just to have fun. Yeah.
Well, and all that hard work recently came to fruition with a worldwide publishing deal with Sony Music Publishing. What does that mean to you? And what was it like, to be able to sign something like that?
Oh, dude, it's incredible. I was lucky enough to meet my buddy Josh V at Sony, and he was such a mentor to me for an entire year. I didn't sign with them, didn't do anything, and he plugged me in and introduced me to so many people, and has just been such a blessing in my life to set up some of the rights he set up for me that I do not and did not belong in at the time, but he definitely threw me a bone early on and taught me a lot about the industry and everything, and told me stories of artists he's seen come up, and just helped me in a lot of ways. So to me, it was like a no-brainer to go with Sony. It already felt like home. It felt like family, with him being there especially. But the whole crew over there, like, you walk in, it just feels, it's a vibe. And yeah, he set up so many different opportunities for me, and I couldn't be more grateful for him. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, I mean, to have someone like Josh, who's the EVP of A&R over there, I mean, kind of take you under his wings and, like you said, give you those opportunities. I mean, how cool is that? And like you said, I mean, how much did that just help you kind of get into Nashville and feel more comfortable?
Oh, super, dude. So much, dude. I was like, you come up here and you don't know anybody. And so you're like, okay, well, we've got I had a couple buddies up here that were the reason that I moved here, because I had somebody, and I was like, okay, man, they're doing all right. Maybe this is the move. We were still living in Alabama, but came up here and, yeah, met Josh. Like, I guess Sony pulled a meeting just wanting to set up some rights and stuff and introduce themselves. And then I realized, oh, you can go into these places and kind of network and meet cool people. And they're very non-judgmental there. They're like, they'll be bumping my more hip hop leaning stuff. They'll be bumping the country stuff. And it's all just like, damn, y'all really just love music. And yeah, man, it introduced me to that world. And ever since, I've just seen the music grow in ways that I don't think I could have achieved on my own, and it's taught me how to work with other people and believe in them and see us all come up together.
Well, and you got a pretty cool thing that's about to drop here at the end of the month on July 25th. Where to Find Me, your new album. What was it like putting that work together? After you've gone through so much and you're able to continue to grow and meet new people.
Oh, it's awesome, dude. We cried when we made the album. I mean, like, is it being in a room where several grown men are just crying is like crazy. But it's like when the music speaks like that, it's so awesome. And we made that album. I wanted to make like a body of work. I didn't want to pick through 100 songs and just pick the best ones. I wanted to say, like, what can we make? Because we drop music every 4 weeks. So it's like, how can we go in and actually make like a project? I didn't want it to be too many songs, like a 30-song album or something yet. I don't feel like I'm there yet, but it was just 10 songs of like from heartfelt to relationship stuff that I saw my mom go through when I was growing up, putting all that into the music and just achieving this like kind of goal that was like, I feel like this is what they want right now. This is what's missing in my catalog at the moment, and so I couldn't be more excited for people to take a listen and hear it from top to bottom. I think it's really sweet.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, it's got a lot of different tracks on there. Your recent song that you put out, "One More Shot," pretty powerful. A little bit of soul bearing in that one, and about addiction, regret. What's it been like to create like that vulnerable track and put that out there into the world?
That was the one that we cried making. Yeah, it was like that song's about the struggle with alcoholism and stuff, and I know it's like an ironic place to yeah, but cheers to that. But I was truly at a point a while back after I lost my grandmother that just I was drinking every day, waking up every day, shaking, needing it to keep going, needing it to stop the shakes, and it was what was causing the shakes. And it's just this whole thing. And I was like, man, I didn't make it this far to let this take control of me, And so now that I have a grip on that, that song was just much needed. I feel like to tell that story, and we all cried and we made it, and just really dug deep. Song wrote itself. We felt God in the room, and we were like, man, this is powerful.
I mean, again, that's that vulnerability that you're willing to share, and you got a couple other songs, that you've put out, "Summer in America," which
Yeah.
totally different vibe. "Love Me Tonight," again, a little bit of a different vibe there. How do those songs, along with kind of "One More Shot," kind of represent everything that album might have, and so forth?
I think they're all like a great little peek at what's to come on the album, and we also have some really cool stuff that I didn't want to put out, before it came out, just to let the fans discover on their own. I'd say even bigger hits are on there that I just was like, you know what? Let's not just drive these into the ground. Let's let these be fresh. But I think they represent how many different kind of aspects of life we tried to pack into this one album. I didn't want every song to be sad or every song to be happy. It's just like life itself. Today I feel like I've been happy today, sad, a little anxious, a little depressed probably, like just made it through the day. And so that's what this album is. There's a little something on there for everybody.
Well, that's where you're at any given moment, where you find me, right?
That's right.
In addition to being able to write songs and record songs, you get to share those on stage. I hear you enjoy a little bit of a high energy show. So what's it like when you're on stage?
Oh, dude, I try to keep it high energy. My favorite shows are like, I grew up when I was a teenager, I'd like go to all the hip hop shows. So it's like you pack as many people as you can in this pit. There's no seats ever. The music is loud. There's 808s rumbling. Everybody's got a drink or whatever they're doing. And I just always love like the performance aspect of shows where it's like, classic rock bands or like whoever it may be, from rap to that to country, high energy country shows like Garth Brooks back in the day and stuff. So that's kind of what I wanted my shows to be like. There's definitely moments where we break it down and we, sit on the stool and just be super real with everybody. But even though it's high energy, I'll say I don't think there's a moment of the show where I ever lose connection with everybody there. So we're gonna party, we're gonna have a good time, great time. You may not remember much of it tomorrow, but we're also gonna go deep. So it's like I don't know. I just really love high energy shows that are entertaining. I feel like people want to see that stuff sometimes to escape. So
Well,
that's
I
the
like
goal.
what you said. You get them going, then you bring them back down with maybe something a little
Yep.
slower, more. They got to listen a little closer. Then you go right back up and have
Yep.
some fun. And you went on your own headlining tour, the 12 City, the Low Life tour. What was that like? Because I mean, I'm guessing it's a little different than opening for someone or being second bill or something like that. To be able to go out and share your music, your show.
Dude, yeah, it was like everything I dreamed of when we were opening for people. Like we opened for Chase Matthew, we opened for Colby for a bit, and it was like I would see their fans just like get so excited when they came out, and I was like, dude, this is great. I mean, I got excited when they came. I was standing side stage, just like, yes, dude, this is awesome. And yeah, I always dreamed of having that, and of course, when we started, I was a little bit nervous. Like, are we gonna sell tickets? You know, all these things, and it was just cool to see like, wow, people really did show up, and the way they sang the words back is like, oh man, that's something I hadn't experienced before. So like the Low Life tour was like all that, and just seeing your poster on the window and stuff. It just like kind of solidified the dream that, man, you could really do this thing if you really put your mind to it. So it just really honestly inspired me to just work harder and grow that, because I want to see so many more of my people come out and enjoy the night, you know?
I was gonna say the perfect way to get started, a little 12 city tour next time. Could be a few more cities, a few
Yeah.
more places. And I mean, what was it like though? I mean, I always wonder this because I will never get this. I can't sing worth a lick. I just talk to folks. When someone's singing your song back to you, I mean, what was that like moment when you're like, oh, and it wasn't just maybe one, maybe it was the whole group, and you're like, oh shit, like they're here for me. They know
Yeah.
my stuff. They're singing it back. I can stop and they can keep singing.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the first time I felt that was with Chase when we were out in Valparaiso, I think Indiana, I believe is the. I always get Indiana, Illinois mixed up. It's Indiana. We were there. I opened for him to this like 3,000 person outdoor crowd, and I'm like, okay, y'all are throwing me to the wolves. It was me and a drummer, dude. It was me and my drummer Ruben, and I ran out, and the crowd gave such a reaction to like me as an opener for the first time that night that I was like, okay, wow, this is crazy. So I was kind of geared up. Stage is huge. It's me and him back there. And they started singing the words, first song. And I was like, y'all are here for Chase and y'all know my music? This is crazy. So by the time that the headline tour kicked in, I was like, let's see if my people that buy these tickets are as hype as they were. And they were. And it was like, oh man, this is awesome. Each show is a little different every night. Some people want to sit down, you know, and that's been a learning curve too, to play to a room full of people in chairs. But there's always the pit, and you can always rely on those people right up front. But no, dude, them singing the words to your songs is crazy, especially when half of them are recorded in my bedroom in Alabama, like in the closet, you know, and I'm trying to get the best vocal takes and stuff, and they're singing it back. It's like, dude, how cool.
Well, and I always love to, I ask what you're drinking, and at the beginning, and as we get toward the end, I love to ask this one because it's always a unique answer that I get from folks, and it's what's your favorite song right now of yours to perform live?
Right now, it's "Bury Me with Bourbon" because that's. I feel like it's weird how the biggest record is always the one they know. You know, it's like obvious, but you're like, oh yeah, y'all really do really like this song, you know, a lot. And we get to the towards the end of the set, and we play "Bury Me with Bourbon," and seeing them just when the music cuts on, just like and you're like, just that one moment. If I could just loop that and just relive it all the time, it's such a cool feeling, you know.
And is there one off the new album that you also love right now?
Yeah, so Stoned. Stoned is my new intro song. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I'm going to say it anyways to get people hype. It's the intro song. It's what we're coming out to. And I've got a really personal intro before the song plays and then the song kicks on. And it's just such a cool record. It's the one that I can't get off repeat. You know, after we made the album, I'm like, okay, what's my favorite one off here? And it's probably got to be Stoned. I mean, at least right now it is. But I'm really excited to get on the road and play that.
I love it. I love it. And you got to give folks a tease, so now they got something to even more to look forward to. And obviously you got the album coming out on the 25th. What else? I mean, it's crazy to think we're like halfway through 2025. We still got a little bit of summer left, but I mean, what else, can folks expect from you the rest of the year? What are you hoping to still, do this year?
Oh, dude, we got the another headline tour, the Where to Find Me tour coming. Late summer through the fall. We got like 25 dates, I believe, something roughly like that. And then, yeah, I just want people to know that when we drop this album, we're not slowing down. You know, we're going to still put out a song every 4 weeks. We're going to keep it trucking. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon, and everybody wants new music. So I'm excited to see what we get in there and make.
I was gonna say, I mean, when you're working through all those songs, obviously sometimes you got to write about something just to get maybe some bad juju out,
Yeah.
and then you get to the hit, a few songs later. I mean, what's it like for you to be working all the time? Can you ever just turn it off, or is it just always on?
I wish, dude. No, I can't. And I don't know, man. Even on vacation, all I think about is writing songs and playing shows and what's next, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night with an idea and just jot it down or something, and it's never off, dude. I can't hardly sleep.
I was gonna say, do you have like 9,000 notes and voice recordings in your phone?
Oh yeah, dude, easily. Yeah, a lot more than that.
There we go. There we go. Well, and it sounds like you put a lot of work into Where to Find Me. So you got even more songs that I'm sure you can release there. So, and who knows what else you'll come up with here in the next couple days.
Yep, that's right. Never know.
Oh man, but you got a lot to look forward to, folks. If you haven't, go find J Webb, listen to his songs, whether you like whiskey or not. He's got a lot of good music. Maybe you like a little moonshine, a little beer. He
Maybe you
might have
do.
might have something there for you as well. His new album, Where to Find Me, out July 25th. It's well worth the listen, man. Jay, thanks for sharing a drink with me, and
Hey,
cheers, man.
thank you. Yeah, cheers to you, brother. Thank you so much for having me.